That's Annette. I am CountessRose, and welcome to Two Mares Review, where we review anything from fanfiction to character design. I am here with my co-host Firescales.
Hey peeps!
And today we are reviewing the fanfic / audio drama Instant Mom.
Yay! Basically, for this fanfic, there's only 2 episodes up on YouTube, and so therefore, to kind of keep it consistent, we're going to be reviewing both episodes on YouTube and the kind of script story written up to that same point, just to kind of compare and contrast the two.
Yes, because you haven't read the full story, have you, Firescales?
No, I have not.
She's working on it. I have. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I found it extremely adorable. Rainbow Dash is a overprotective, loving mother. I find it extremely cute. And I just find it extremely cute. So, let's start off with the story, and then we'll move on to characters and the visual aspects of the videos, as well as the sound design, which I have several notes. So, let's start with the synopsis of the story. Firescales?
Well, basically, our lovely Rainbow Dash is going about her busy day until she gets stumbled with an early Christmas present, it seems. A lovely baby Pegasus, who was sadly just dropped off at Rainbow Dash's house, and Rainbow Dash decides, decides to try and wants to raise her. And so she goes to her favorite friends to kind of assist and help in terms of raising her. And that's basically the entire synopsis of just, Rainbow Dash going through motherhood, Cumulus growing up, realizing her disability and trying to get over it and whatnot, and dealing with other ponies besides just, her quote-unquote aunts, which are the main 6, and of course her mommy, which is Rainbow Dash.
So, it seems that I actually know the full story and how they handle Cumulus coming to the facts of her being adopted and stuff, which is later on in the story, which Firescales hasn't gotten to. I'll keep that to the memo because, again, I don't want to spoil the story for you because it is very nice.
Okay.
But the first few episodes, we have episode-wise on that has been transcribed into video format, is pretty much up through chapter 5, which is pretty much Cumulus before she actually starts elementary school. And the story, I think, flowed pretty well, at least in the fanfic, in written format. When we transitioned to the video format, I felt like there's a few hiccups with story translation and how things were handled, especially in episode 2. The transitions from each scene were, to be blunt, non-existent.
Very abrupt.
Yes. We would jump from scene to scene to scene with no transition, no aspect or hint onto where we are, how much time has passed, and such. One thing that I did notice with the story, when it was transcribed to the video format, what most people would have done would have been put an actual narrator, because I feel like a lot of the story was lost because we had exposition dumps in some sections, which were usually actually very nicely handled in the fanfic, but when they were taken to the video, transcribing and all that, it became exposition-y. Although I must say, when we have Fluttershy telling Rainbow Dash off to calm the heck down, I think that's actually pretty cool. But again, exposition dump.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you just now kind of realized how difficult it is to take a written piece and turn it into a kind of a movie.
Yeah. So
we kind of understand what all the big names are dealing with in terms of turning books into movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's hard transitioning mediums.
It is. And so I just feel like, I felt kind of lost, especially in the second episode on YouTube, because, it was very jumpy and we jumped from place to place. I kind of, at least would like to see them travel, maybe talk while they're traveling to places or whatnot, while they're flying, or, just to kind of help fix that problem, because we kind of don't get a sense of passing time.
Yeah, I think if, during the cuts, you would cut and then the conversation would automatically start. I would think maybe some ambient noises kind of give some hints of what is, establishing shots with the artwork. But then again, this is probably something we'll cover more in depth in the video section of our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Any more?
I think it's cute.
It's very adorable. Although the story aspect, there's one part in the section that we'll be covering today that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It was in episode 2, and we were reintroduced to a couple of the bullies from Rainbow Dash's youth when Cumulus is sitting outside waiting for her mom to get out of the office. And those two show up, and I kind of feel like you're trying to make them kind of mean bullies characters, but both in the fic and in the video, I felt like you were trying but didn't actually hit the note. I got the feeling like they were curious and acting like a mature adults, and then Rainbow Dash came out and then they backtracked to being teenagers.
Yeah, I never really got the fact that they're they're bullies. I just kind of felt they were kind of just ignorant grown ponies. Surprisingly very, very shocked at the sight of a blind Pegasus. I felt they were a little overreacting when they realized she was blind.
Yeah, I felt like the overreaction to being blind thing is kind of okay, but I think that's one of the main aspects of the story. Like her handling how she's blind and having her mom, who is like this really big deal athletic-wise. I think it was kind of a good contrast, but I think how that was handled in that one scene of the two former bully characters when they were kids and how they're acting when they're adults. I'm just like, you're mature adults. Don't try to pick on the small child, because I'm getting a very bad vibe of spoiled rich from them.
One thing I do kind of notice with people is they kind of do backhanded compliments or something like that. Might be an interesting, because they want to be nice, but they don't know how to handle the situation. That might be a better take on them than trying to push them to be bullies.
Mm-hmm. That's just things I find having adults or really older teenagers picking on young. Like Cumulus is 3 at this point in the story. I'm like, that is a toddler.
Yeah.
Please don't pick on a toddler. That just might be my motherly instincts kicking in. But I'm just like, don't pick on the small fictional Pegasus.
Yeah.
But was there any particular part of the story you wanted to talk about?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there is. One thing that that rubbed me the wrong way was how you described homeschooling. And the reason is because I was homeschooled from first grade all the way from graduation of high school.
Dun dun dun!
Yep. I am the person who can rightfully talk about this. Homeschooling is not as you seem. There's a lot of stereotypes that people have about homeschooling that do not exist. Like, for instance, sleeping in. I had to get up at 7 like everybody else. PJs all day. Nope, my mother made me get dressed like a normal person. And I had school, and I usually got done fairly early in the day, and let's just say we were doing things all the time. I played basketball growing up. I did puppets. I did Girl Scouts. I did volunteering at the animal shelter. I did all these things. I wasn't really having a problem of, socializing with people and whatnot. So kind of be careful with what you say about certain things. Ask around at least, because I kind of got a little offended at how you were describing homeschoolers, because that's not how it was. And I know there's some, maybe you come in contact with a homeschooler who is very, standoffish and by themselves, but, there are some public schoolers who are the exact same way. And so I don't know why when I tell people I was homeschooled, they always act so surprised.
Yeah.
Just like, it rubbed me very much the wrong way. So I just want to ask, be careful. Be careful with how you describe things, and be sure to ask before you start writing stuff out and putting it out there.
Yes, dealing with stereotypes in stories, whether it be how the ethnicity of a person, or a disability, or how someone was brought up. Stereotypes can be a bit tricky, and if you can avoid them, it can make a story so much stronger. Mm-hmm. Like, I actually had a friend of ours actually messaged me one time at early in the morning. I actually woke up to this message, like, quick, what do you know about Jewish people?
Yeah, that's kind of an odd question to wake up to.
Yeah, that was kind of odd, and I was sitting there looking at this you do realize that another friend of ours is Jewish, right? And she's like, oh my gosh, you're right. And so she quickly ran off, and she's been bugging her ever since. I wonder how that character's going on, by the way.
I have no idea.
I have to ask her later.
But anyway, So I would advise you to, if you insist on having these, tread lightly.
Mm-hmm.
You are choosing to walk on eggshells, and it was not done well in terms of my perspective, because you might ask, did I get out a lot? Yes, I did. And I enjoyed every moment of it. And yes, my mom was able to teach pretty much everything. My dad taught me a little bit, and then we went to co-ops, and that did everything else. And it was, I wouldn't change it. So, it's ask before you produce. If that makes sense.
Researching how other things or how other people view things, and just if you want to delve into different ways of living for your characters that is foreign to you, researching all the aspects, maybe finding someone to talk to, interview them, stuff of that nature, and your stories will not come off as stereotypical. So I think we have covered aspects of the story that have both intrigued us and kind of irked us, but let's move on to the characters, or seeing how we only have one original character so far, characterization of the main 6.
Pretty decent.
Yes. Of the main 5, besides Rainbow Dash, we can't really say that there's actually characters, they're more like cameos, really. And so it's kind of hard to...
everyone seemed to act the way they would in the show. Rarity was thinking about dresses and clothes, and Pinky was, all over the place, talking very squeakily and happy. Fluttershy was very quiet and, polite, and...
But she has developed the be able to put her hoof down.
Finally.
In certain situations.
And Twilight's still kind of bookish, and the wise one of the group. So they acted as their show counterparts. So
yes.
Good job on you.
Yay.
Good continuation of the characters. And as for Rainbow Dash herself, I kind of thought that Rainbow Dash kind of accepted the fact that she was going to be a mother a little too easily, because accepting this new position in life, she would have to definitely put her dream of being a Wonderbolt. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but that's her dream. She's
already in reserves.
Yeah, but that would have to be put on hold because she's raising a child.
True.
And so, did she really give that up? I mean, yes, it's a cute little child and whatnot, but she would at least kind of thought about it in her mind. Is she willing to put this on hold for a very long time to raise this child? And I have a feeling she'd be more on the lines of why me of the main 6. And so I kind of feel like, it's not terrible, but I kind of felt like she accepted this fate a little too quickly. And so I thought a little bit more kind of conflict within herself would have made it a little bit more dynamic. But, that's just my opinion.
And me, on the other hand, I thought Mommy Rainbow Dash was adorable. And I had no problems with her accepting it point blank, because personally I probably would have done the exact same things. Like, oh, this is a sweet little child, I'm going to take care of it and keep it safe and love it and cherish it, and I'm just going to be like, oh. Okay, so any thoughts about Cumulus so far?
Any thoughts about what?
Cumulus.
Oh, yeah, she seems pretty well developed. I mean, she's just a curious, fun, wanting adventure kind of Pegasus.
Oh, she's kind of shy, really.
Yeah, shy, but she's
Very
still.
shy.
I mean, she's still like, I want to see.
Again, taller though.
Yeah, she's taller, but she seems like a typical child who wants to see. And obviously, she has some. She's not a Mary Sue. She has flaws, which of course being physical for her. And so she's well developed. And I like her design. She's very cute. She kind of reminds Snowdrop.
She does. Oh my gosh. Just with a spikier mane.
Pretty much. She practically almost is Snowdrop. The fact that she's also blind.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe I have not made that connection yet.
Whoops. Not saying that that's a bad thing.
No. Just because, the color scheme and then the choice of having a blind filly, it kind of makes us think it's Snowdrop.
Yeah.
But she is separate from Snowdrop, as in the aspects of she's not very mopey about her blindness. She's just more of she's kind of like she's asking, why am I blind? Instead of being kind of like, she's like, woe is me.
Yeah, woe is me. Good analogy.
Yeah.
So, it's very different. And good job for keeping it separate.
Yeah. Because, as we just found out, I didn't see it until she brought it up. So let's actually move on to the video and the art.
Some of the art is cute. Some of it, is okay. Some of it could be developed a little bit more.
Yes, in episode 2, I think we had the best range of at least different art styles, because I think episode 1 we only had 1 or 2 or 3, I think. And then in episode 2, we had a bit more dynamic change. The addition of a song in the first episode. Don't take this the wrong way, but I've noticed with some fanfic writers, they draw very strong parallels to either full-on Disney movies or key scenes in Disney movies. And that just might be me being a very strong Disney fangirl, but I can easily pick these out. But the more I have looked at the story and the more I've read it, I draw strong parallels to Tarzan with this story. And the addition of the rewrite of I'll Be in Your Heart, which is from Tarzan in the first episode, which was not in the original fanfic, I felt just kind of solidified that. It's not bad, it's not good, I just wanted to point that out. And as for episode 2, I don't know why some fanfics, dramatic readings, audio dramas, whatever we want to classify these as, has small little snippets of fully animated sections.
Yeah, that was really strange, especially, kind of interesting, kind of change things up a little bit.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Kind of wish it stayed longer. I mean, the animation, it was not terrible.
The puppets are actually pretty nice, although sliding feed.
Yeah, you gotta plant them down, make sure they don't move.
It's kind of hard with puppets, though.
Yeah, I know.
But Flash is kind of a pain in the ass. Or flank, whichever one we want to go. Let's go with pain in the flank. The visuals for the dramatic reading is nice overall.
I like how it's all most like a lot of different styles. Even the show accurate. It's a because normally we're like, oh, do your own original stuff, but even the show accurate stuff, I'm just like, it's so different all around that I'm even welcoming of the show accurate the art for that. So it's very, very interesting. And
yeah, the show accurate art style, although I'm having this one problem now that I'm re-looking at it again. Composition of some of the shots, I'm just like, that probably could have been handled a little bit better. Especially seeing in fact one of the characters is like half of his face is off the screen. And also floating eyelashes.
Yeah, Rainbow Dash has some very special eyelashes. They float on their own.
Yeah.
So, and I know that's puppet stuff. That's
puppets, you have to move them and separately, but it's just something that we notice. Okay. Any other aspects you want to talk about on the video?
I don't think so.
No? Okay then. Let's move on to sound design.
Could be a little better.
Audio balancing is a thing.
Because there was a point where the baby was crying so loud that we could barely hear Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash talking.
Yes, and there's this one, it was her numbing. It was her num-num sound. And if you're going to have it play for that long, I strongly advise recording it for that long, because I could tell when you cut the first track and looped it back. Cut it and looped it, cut and looped it. Because it's just like, boop, boop. It's a little tiny hitch. But if you've done any extensive audio recordings, you can pick it up.
We could tell pretty easily when we first heard it.
Yeah.
And it's just, then
again, we both had a little bit more experience with audio recordings than some people, but it does become obvious. In fact, you have it play for, what, 10, 20 seconds?
Yeah, for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And you might be like, why bother? It just, these little details will help us submerge ourselves in the story a lot better and, take everything a lot more seriously and not get caught up on these little hiccups, so that way we can focus more on all the other stuff that you've done.
Yeah, the suspension of the disbelief, which everyone enters in when they enter into a story. We are in that with movies, any kind of fan fiction or video games, anything. Being able to immerse yourself in this fictional world is a very thin line where our subconscious saying, yes, we know this isn't really happening, but we're going to, for a time, believe it is. Now, when there's something, especially like 3D stuff, when we enter the uncanny valley, it can pull us right out. With 2D animation, if there's like a pop or a slide with how the puppet works, or a glitch in the sound, it could easily pop someone out of that suspension of disbelief and can diminish the experience of what you're trying to do.
Think of it as kind of like an interruption. Like you're watching a movie and you get a phone call or something, and all of a sudden you're pulled out from that movie and you're kind of like, well, you know, I'm already kind of distracted, let me move on to something else. So that's, for us, at least for us art people, that's how we see those little tiny glitches. While they're not, you know, terrible, but they are, you know, they can detract from what you want to convey to the viewer.
So overall, I believe if you can bring down the baby noises, or at least some of the little background tips a little bit so they're not overpowering the dialogue, I think it would also help a tremendous amount. And overall with the story, again, with the jumping around from scene to scene to scene, of course, seeing that, from what I've read later on in the story, which, again, I adore the story. I'm actually going to probably be reading the sequel, which is Instant Teenager, in a little bit. But the jumping around and there's no time to immerse yourself in the new scene before you're trying to say, hey, what's going on here? So, Fire Skills, any other thoughts or final suggestions?
I'm kind of more interested in the written story than I am the YouTube version. I was more drawn into the writings, and because of the jumping around and whatnot with the audio drama. So I'll continue reading it. It's very well done. The story is cute.
I personally am looking forward to episode 3 of this. I hope that you continue with your Instant Teenager story, which I saw was on hiatus when I looked at it.
No.
But, so, other than that, I believe that is all for us this week. If you have any fan fictions, audio dramas, videos, or characters you'd like for us to review, please link them down in the comments below. And so, until next time, I am Countess Rose.
And I'm Fire Scales.
I'm now going to show Fire Scales Dusk Dawn.
Yay! Shoot!
This is going to be fun. Bye-bye.
Bye.